So Crash Team Rumble has a total of 9 maps at launch, and they all play very differently, from the difficulty to the relic powers and so much more. So we're gonna dive into all of the 9 maps that we currently have, so you get a better understanding at how to play these maps more efficiently with, of course, some tips and tricks. Let's start off with one of the new maps at launch, which is Serenity Gardens. This is a pretty well balanced map in terms of its size, danger level and verticality. Now size means how big the map actually is, danger is the amount of hazard it has that can kill you, and verticality indicates how far up the map will go. Now this map has only 2 relic station power-ups, and one of them is extremely OP. We'll first start off with the Akano power-up, costing only 5 relics. This power-up allows you to damage anyone you touch, and you get to jump higher and stay in the air for a little bit longer, just like how it works back in Crash Bandicoot 4. This power is actually pretty good, especially with the many higher platforms this map has. However, it cannot compare when it comes to this map's epic relic station, which is the Big Bonsai. This costs around 30 relics to activate, and I think this power-up is pretty OP. Once activated, it spawns out a bonsai tree in the middle of the map that has big Wumpa fruits in them. Grab them and it gives you 100 Wumpa fruits if you take them and deposit it into your bank. Do note that you can only take 1 fruit at a time, but anyone from your team as well can take the fruits and help you deposit it. Now what makes this so busted is that these big Wumpa fruits multiplies according to the number of platform relics your team has activated. For example, if you have a 40% Wumpa bonus like what I have right now, instead of 100, you will get 140 fruits from it. Now I believe this tree only has 5 or 6 big Wumpa fruits on it, but that is at least 500 free Wumpas at a minimum, just from one power-up alone, which I think is a pretty damn good deal. So yeah, that is Serenity Gardens, and I think this is a pretty great map overall. Next up, let's talk about one of the biggest map in the game, Tar Valley. This map is pretty huge in its size, with a lower than average danger value and an almost non-existent verticality rate. And once you get into the map, you immediately understand why. This map is pretty flat overall, so you can see what happens across your screen just about anywhere. Characters that travel faster is highly recommended as well, such as Coco, Crash or even Catbat. Now this map has 2 types of power-ups, which are the Slow Shrooms and Aku Aku. Starting with the Slow Shrooms, it costs about 6 relics to activate, and once activated, you spawn a ton of mushrooms around the activated area, which slows and damages any opponent that touches them. This is a great defensive tool if used at your own bank, or you can be a little sneaky and activate these at your opponent's bank, so they have a harder time depositing Wumpa fruits. Now as mentioned, Aku Aku is the epic relic power-up in this map, and it costs 30 relics, same as the other epic relic station. And this is by far one of the most unique power-up in the entire game. Once activated, it spawns Aku Aku crates around the map, and the more Aku Aku crate you break, the more powerful you get. At level 1, you immediately get Aku Aku as soon as you activate the relic, which grants you a shield and fully heals you up. When you break a second Aku Aku crate, you will gain increased speed, more shield added to your HP bar, and Aku Aku now turns gold. When you break a third Aku Aku crate, you will unlock its ultimate form. You are now wearing Aku Aku as a mask, and you gain even more speed and gain the maximum amount of shield. Furthermore, you will damage anything you touch, and the damage itself is actually pretty damn high. So once you hit level 3 Aku Aku, go crazy until the timer runs out. Now, the maximum level for Aku Aku is level 3, so if you try to get more Aku Aku crate at max level, nothing will happen. So make sure to save those for your teammates. And don't worry about the enemy as well, because nothing will happen if they break the crate. Only the team who activated this epic relic will get its power. Now depending on your preference, you might love or hate this map. I personally felt that this map is pretty decent, mainly because of its prehistoric design itself and its unique Aku Aku gameplay. Now overall gameplay wise, not as chaotic or much to think about compared to other maps, so a pretty solid map overall. Next up, let's talk about Cityscape, which is arguably one of the most confusing map in the game, mainly because of its extremely big size, high danger value because of the many ways you can fall to your death at any moment, and multiple layers of verticality, which makes this map one of the most confusing and hardest map to play on. Now there are 3 relic stations on this map, which are TNT drones, plasma turret, and the Kapunawa quantum mask. Let's start off with Kapunawa first. So Kapunawa costs 5 relics to activate, and it grants you the power of time, which allows you to move faster and charge your powers quicker. It also allows you to jump slightly higher than usual, so this is a great way to travel around in this huge map. The next relic power up is the Plasma Turret, which costs about 8 relics to activate. It summons a turret in its place and will fire a burst of 3 to 4 plasma shots to your enemy, and then it needs to recharge for a small amount of time before it starts shooting again. This is a pretty decent tool to defend a spot from having enemies to come in, but I'm not gonna lie that it is slightly underwhelming for the amount of relic it costs, considering how easy it is to dodge its shot. Nevertheless, it can be a nuisance if enemy activates this, so this is something to look out for. And for the epic relic station of this map, it is the TNT drones. Pretty simple, once activated with 30 relics, it spawns out TNT drones around the map and it will follow all nearby enemies until the timer of the TNT hits 0, which then will explode. This drone is kinda slow, so enemy will easily dodge it. However, like I said, it follows them no matter what. So it is a pretty great way to keep all 4 enemies on the map moving, as it isn't safe to stay in one spot for a very long time, hence giving you greater control of the map. Overall, I think this map is pretty advanced, and I have no doubt you have a rough time finding your own bank once in a while, but hey, it's a pretty fun map still. Next up, let's talk about the map Rusted Refinery. Now, weirdly enough, it says that this map has a level 4 size rating, but personally I don't think it's really that big, especially after trying it out. Danger level at medium because you can fall out, and a decent verticality rate, especially the higher platforms in the middle. This map has 3 relic stations, which are the Explosive Jump, Flame Trap, and Sandstorm. Explosive Jump costs 5 relics, and the name says it all. It basically turns you into a walking dynamite, creating explosions for every jump you take. It is actually pretty decent at keeping enemies away. Flame Trap costs about 8 relics, and it spawns 2 flamethrowers on whichever bank you summon it on. It alternates between the 2 flamethrowers, and it damages and knockbacks any enemies that touches it. It is not the strongest relic in the world, as there are safe spots that enemy can just stand still on, but if they are forced to move around, then it is a great tool to use. Now let's dive on to the Sandstorm relic station, which costs 30 relics to activate. It summons 2 very big tornadoes spinning around the center of the map. Nothing will happen if your allies go in, but it damages and lifts enemy up in the air. This is a great power to use in this map because the center spot is usually the most important one due to the jam pads. The sandstorm won't really kill your enemies, but it will create spaces and buy time for your team to do whatever you need to do to win. Next up, let's head into the Sanity Caverns for the next map. This is one of the smallest map in the game in terms of its size, but it has pretty decent danger and vertical gameplay, especially when one of the main paths are floating in the middle of the map. There are only 2 relic stations here, which are Lenny Lolly and Spirit Guardians. Lenny Lolly costs 5 relics to activate and gives you and your team invisibility for a short amount of time. Even when you attack during this invisibility phase, you'll go back invisible in less than a second. This is a great way to sneak up onto enemy to hit them first, or to collect Wumpas without anyone knowing where you are. The Spirit Guardian relic station is an epic station costing 30 relics to activate. Once activated, you and your team are now granted the power of the Spirit Guardian. You gain massive amount of HP, increase in your overall size, and you gain knockback resistance, which means that nobody can push you around. Great way to wreak havoc around the map and scare your opponents away. Next map is the Surreal Summit. This is the smallest map in the game so far, with an average danger value and a very high verticality rate, which is understandable considering that most of the key points in this map takes place in the air. There are 2 powers in this map, namely Ika Ika and the Ancient Dragons. Ika Ika costs only 5 relics to activate, and you gain the power to jump up really high in the air and produce shockwave after landing. This is a great knockback tool to push people out of bounds. It is also a great way to move around this vertical heavy map. The epic relic station is the Ancient Dragons, which cost 30 relics to activate. This summons them in various parts of the map, and whenever your enemy touches them, they are pushed back and dealt some damage. The dragon only circle around specific parts of the map, but don't let that fool you, as they are placed in very strategic positions. For example, one dragon is placed at your own bank and another dragon is placed at your enemy's bank, and this is a great defensive and offensive tool. Additionally, dragons are also placed at all 3 of the main jam pads. This practically means that you are able to get off the jam pads without much trouble, and that is honestly pretty strong for your team. Yes, the dragons don't deal much damage, but they are the best when it comes to map control. Next up, let's talk about the Calamity Canyon. This map actually felt really big, so I'm not sure why it has only 2 rating in size. But anyways, level 1 in danger because it is pretty hard to fall off this map and an okay verticality rate. There are 3 relic stations in this map, namely Jungle Ball, Force Field, and Oxide's UFO. Jungle Ball only costs 5 relics to activate and it surrounds you in a damaging spike ball. Anyone that touches you is immediately damaged and pushed back. You also gain increased speed to chase down your opponents. Do note that you cannot double jump while in the Jungle Ball. Force Field is the next relic station, which costs about 8 relics to activate. It summons an impassable shield that your opponents can't go through at your bank, or at the enemy's bank if you summon it there. However, this is not entirely foolproof as they can still jump onto the protected bank via this site right here, but nonetheless a great tool to buy some time. And of course we have Oxide UFO as an epic relic station. Costing at 30 relics, it summons Oxide which tracks a single enemy while shooting laser beam onto them. Oxide automatically switches target whenever it detects a new enemy nearby. This is one of the painless epic station in the game and it forces enemy to always be on the run, which makes it really difficult for the enemy team to deposit Wumpa fruits or capture any gem pads. One of the best relic station in the game for sure. Next map is Just Beachy. Just Beachy is one of the safest and easiest map in the game to understand with a very low rating in size, danger and verticality rate. It only has 2 relic stations which are the Beach Ball and Bonus Bank. Beach Ball costs 5 relics and same like the Jungle Ball from Calamity Canyon, it gives you increased speed, damage and knockback effect when you touch opponents. It seems as well that the Beach Ball provides more knockback but lesser damage than the Jungle Ball. Do confirm it for me in the comment section below if you know anything about this. And for the Epic Station which costs 30 relics, the Bonus Bank. It works like any other bank, just slightly smaller in size and provides a 2 times Wumpa fruit deposit rate when depositing Wumpas here. Don't let its simplicity fool you though, as this is one of the strongest relic station in this game. Remember, you need to gain 2000 Wumpa fruits to win, which makes this relic station the perfect one to help you win faster. Take a look at this example here, where it only took me less than 1 minute to increase my team's bank by a hefty 700 points, and that is all done in less than a minute with this power up. Again, don't underestimate this relic station, and if you see your enemies activating it, make sure to contest the middle to prevent your enemies from banking in, because trust me, you want to stop them from using this bank. Next up, the map is called Tiki Towers, one of the first maps to have ever been reviewed for Crash Team Rumble. This is a pretty big map with a high size rating, a decent danger rating, and a very high verticality rate, thanks to the tower in the middle. There are 3 relic stations which are the Bandicootapult, Bombardment, and Uka Uka. The Bandicootapult only costs 2 relics to activate and is basically a very powerful trampoline that launches you up into the middle of the map, above the towers. A great way to scout and travel to anywhere you want. Bombardment costs 8 relics and as the name suggests, bombards the nearby bank with continuous fire. Now depending on where you activate this, they will look different. On one side it is a cannon on top of the tower, and on the other side it is lava balls spewing from the bottom. Again, it is a very good defensive tool to use. Finally, Uka Uka is the epic relic station at 30 relics to activate. It gives you a very high damaging effect around you, plus meteors rain in your surroundings. It has very high damage and it is the best tool in this map to destroy anyone that stands in your way. Overall, a really nice map to play in. And that's pretty much all of the current maps in the game so far, and if you're looking for some more tips and tricks to win more games in Crash Team Rumble, you can click on the video you see on the screen right now. You don't want to miss this one.